you run, Kevin, several ETFs. They're focused on internet and e-commerce. They're in the title. You have the internet and e-commerce ETF. And you have an emerging markets internet and e-commerce ETF. So the focus is on internet and e-commerce in India. But why is the focus just on that?
Well, we have actually three different offerings. We have the EMQQ, which is all emerging markets. We have FMQQ, which is our ex-China version, and then finally INQQ, which is the India-only one, which is what we're I think been focused on a lot. And the theory behind all of this is pretty simple. This is the fastest-growing sector in the world, and it may be the fastest-growing sector in the world ever. And I'm talking about the emerging markets internet space. And it's being driven by three giant things are happening at the same time. You've got 6.5 billion people.
Let me put back that up. I want to show you some of the companies, because sometimes it's helpful just to talk about the companies that are up. So we're putting up some of your largest holdings here.
Sure.
We have Geo Financial Services. This is online financial services, right? Is that right?
Yes, insurance, banking, lending, things like that. Again, what's happening is these billions of people are getting their first ever computer, and as discussed, it's a $12 smartphone, and they're getting connected to the internet for the first time. And because they don't have a bank account, they don't have a credit card, these people are leapfrogging. So the front wave of this in all emerging markets is getting the money and the financial services onto the phone. So. That was one of the companies. I think you had InfoEdge, which is job ads and real estate ads, the same kind of things that we've seen take over our lives. The FANG stocks that
What strikes me about this list is it's all internet, but it's consumer internet. So Bajaj Financial is a consumer lending, online consumer lending company. Geo Financial does financial services online. Zomato is a food delivery company. That may be a little different. InfoEdge is online real estate and job ads. Bajaj, I see that. Make My Trip is an online travel company. Angel One is online stock trading. There's a number of these here. It's all online. That's what kind of striking to me. They're consumer focused, but they're online consumer focused.
That's the tip of the spear. I mean, this is where the fastest. Look, this is also not really a secret. If you look what's happened in the last 20 years, when the internet came, the FANG stocks took over our lives in this 15-year S-curve, starting on PCs, then going to smartphones. The second wave of the internet was China from 2005 to 2020. And we've, the stocks have been punished, but the fundamental growth has been remarkable in the Chinese internet companies. And now the third wave, which is India, Brazil, the other emerging markets that we capture in FMQQ.
Yeah, so we're closing out the year. The India ETF is up 17, 18%. It's lagging the S&P a little bit, but it's tracked the S&P reasonably well, actually, in the last several years. So I guess the question is, flows have been positive this year, which is an anomaly for Asia. I'm trying to figure out how much of a story we ought to make about this. I see their argument. I think they make tremendous points. It makes sense. If you're going to be an international investor, this is the area that makes a lot of sense. Young, growing economy, dynamic, democratic, very tech-focused. That tech story is the key to me.
I think the constituency is important too, right? Yeah, as you just said, you want to be in tech. Consumers helpful.
And yet international investors have just gotten slammed for so many years. It's hard making this. I feel like people say, Bob, you said this 10 years ago in China, right? We were all supposed to buy China.
The movement to me should be unbundling your international exposure. Don't just buy EEM or your broad-based ETF. Go country by country. Yeah, you might be taking on a little bit more risk that way and maybe need active management to an extent. But I like the idea of unbundling, right? So that way you're getting your India exposure, or if there's a country in Europe that might be heavy on industrials or healthcare or something like that, you pick those countries instead.